Well, I've run into my first major problem. What could be a major problem. My power supply I got is nearly 7 inches long. And that's going to leave me not even 2 inches between that and the optical drive. So I just happen to have a Raid Max power supply that's only 5.5 inches long. It's not modular, but I believe it has everything I need on it. So I'm going to have to hope that this Raid Max 500 watt power supply is good enough for the job. So anyway, I'm going to start seeing if I can get that thing in there and tuck away some of the wires, maybe up in there or something like that. I didn't want to use a non-modular power supply, but here I am. Now, this is what you call a horrible mess here, but I'm the type of guy that's just going to show you how it is. I'll show you what I did, and I'll try to tie it up a little bit. There's a bunch of wires tucked up under there. And I got my 3-pin fan splitter hooked up to the 2 fans. Got my 24-pin in, my 4-pin CPU in, my SATA power and data to the optical and hard drive. And I'm just going to see if this thing posts and that everything works. Luckily that power supply is actually pretty decent. Looks like it's got a 120 on the bottom, which is going to pull air from the wrong place, but should be alright. It does have decent amperage, especially for this system. So anyway, it's a mess, but the airflow should be pretty good, and I'm going to tie everything up as soon as I figure out that it works. And since I've got the 2 fans in this tiny case, the airflow should be pretty good. So we'll see what happens here. Everything's running great. All the fans are spinning. I had a wire stuck in my CPU fan when I turned it on and freaked me out. But with that mess of wires, I'm not surprised. And then I've got this, I believe it's an AMI, American Megatrends. It actually lets you change the RAM frequency. It's got 3 different settings: DDR3 800, 1066, and 1333. So that's kind of nice. So then I set my RAM timings, and now I'm trying to figure out if memory over voltage means just memory voltage or what. So I'm reading the owner's manual, but I think it does. It's 1.5 volt memory, so I'm going to read about that some more. But anyway, I'm going to continue on through all these fields, set it up how I want it. I'm going to install Windows in AHCI, so I have the option to use it if I want it, and then probably switch it back to IDE. So anyway, it posted good, and everything is looking like $1,000,000, except for the wiring mess, and I'll hopefully fix that pretty quick. So I'll get back with you. Well, I'm installing Windows. I really wanted to do it with a USB drive, but I decided just to go with the DVD. I'll test the USB drive ports out later, and if I need to reinstall Windows I can. But anyway, I'm just testing everything out. Looks like it's going to be a fine machine. Everything went fine in the setup in the BIOS. I'm installing Windows in AHCI mode. That way I found you can switch back and forth between IDE and AHCI if you so desire. So I'll update this further here in a bit. So this is the pretty much finished product. Just wanted a DVD burner in it. This motherboard doesn't even have support for a floppy, so it's not hooked up. I don't have any fan controllers hooked up. I've tied together these, as you can see, the SATA and some of these loose wires, and tucked most of them back in there. And got it looking fairly decent. This 4-pin kind of hangs down, but not too bad. And it's really showing some good performance for what it is. I haven't really benchmarked it yet, but it has really good airflow. These two 120s in this tiny case, they really move some air, along with the power supply, moving air out. The power supply that I had to go with seems to be, doing really well. It's so far, it's brand new, never used, so, but it's showing good voltages, and that's about it. I've got just the two SATA devices hooked up, the hard drive and the optical drive, and it's looking like a decent machine. They are going to have HDMI support, DVI and VGA with 6 USBs, PS2 support if they need it, sound support, gigabit LAN, and you can still put a PCI Express 2.0 video card in this machine easily, if anybody so desires at some point. So anyway, that's the build. It's pretty much finished. If there's any problems with it that I find, I'll report them, but it's looking good. So sorry I didn't film more of it. I found that I really couldn't build a computer and hold a camera at the same time. I really didn't want to put it on a tripod. It didn't work. So anyway, one time I might try to hook up the eSATA. I'm not sure how that's even accomplished on a thing like this. It might be fairly tough, but I may try to hook that up. If I do, I'll try to film that. So you guys have a good evening, good day, wherever you are throughout the world.